Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and I've just been to the Cannes Film Festival for the first time in my life. And I also have watched more movies in total than at any other film festival so far. 31 films in 9 days. I basically lived in the theater. 2 that I unfortunately have missed because there were no tickets anymore are Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon and James Mangold's Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. But here is what I have seen. My festival experience started with the French biopic L'Abbé Pierre, which chronicles the life of the priest and social activist Abbé Pierre. In France, almost everyone knows his name, but to my shame I have never heard about him before. And I'm very happy to have seen this movie. Not only did he live a remarkable and inspiring life, but Frédéric Tellier's drama is also doing a very fine job appealing to our compassion to help each other and help the people that need it most. And it also feels very timely right now. Just a few days ago, a homeless black man was killed by a white vigilante in the New York City subway system. And instead of condemning this, the right is celebrating the killer as a hero. It's despicable. L'Abbé Pierre is an emotional and deeply humanistic film. Benjamin Laverne gives a powerful performance that doesn't portray the man as just a hero, but as someone with edges. It's a film that takes us on a big historical journey. It runs the danger of becoming too much of a mere chronicle, only touching on these many steps in this man's life, but because the central topic and message become louder and clearer with every passing minute, it never lost my attention or emotional engagement. The next movie I saw was Stephanie Di Giusto's period drama Rosalie. It stars Nadia Tereshkevich as the titular young woman Rosalie, a woman who was born covered with hair and who is able to grow a full beard. It's a story of a woman who had to hide her true self all her life and who is now finally starting to show herself to the world. I thought this was a really charming and sweet film, with a glowing lead actress, wonderful chemistry between her and her co-star Benoît Magimel, and a lot of empathy. You might have to suspend your disbelief with some elements of the story, and I thought Rosalie's relationship to one of the young girls in that small village could have been fleshed out more to get a bigger emotional response later on, but in the end, it was a movie that just left me with a really good feeling. The next one was also a highlight for me, that reminded me a little bit of The Worst Person in the World. Only that this one is a little bit more exaggerated and wilder. I'm talking about the Canadian romantic comedy Simple comme Silver. It's a funny, heartfelt and also very sexy movie about a woman whose life is turned upside down when she meets someone new. Like the international title, The Nature of Love suggests, it's about the rules of attraction, why we fall in love, how love changes. It's a really energetic and stylishly shot film with fun performances, nice dialogue and a sexy bittersweetness to it. Then I watched Mark Turtletop's new comedy drama Jules, in which Ben Kingsley stars as a very ordinary old man who starts to become senile and who just happens to encounter an alien that just happened to crash in his backyard. It's a very whimsical little movie about a group of elderly and their little alien secret. It's fine. I thought the first half hour was really difficult to get through, because this type of innocent comedy just didn't really work for me. The lack of communication to make the story work was a bit tedious, and the alien design is also just so unexciting and bland. Thankfully, the movie gets better as it progresses, and there's also this one really nice little scene in which Jane Curtin sings a song and something else is happening at the same time. I don't want to spoil it, but it really stood out from the rest of the movie. Overall, not really a movie for me, but I can see some people having a harmless good time with it. My personal highlight of the entire festival was Thomas Caillet's Le Règne Animal, The Animal Kingdom. This French film is a beautiful and heartfelt genre mix. It's a fantastical coming-of-age adventure drama that is set in a world in which random people have begun to start mutating into different animal species. It's about a father-son relationship. The premise could be silly or your typical young adult stuff, but its treatment is very fresh and endearing, and the movie has such a great blend of drama and very natural feeling humor. It feels grounded, and yet it's totally able to lift you up with its great imagery and emotional payoffs. It feels liberating, and the metaphor isn't one note but can work in different directions. And when a movie is doing something in the vein of body horror, and don't be afraid it's not a horror movie, I'm always interested, and I think this one really pulls it off. I also liked how they used their budget. It's obviously not a big Hollywood production, and yet while they only really show a few mutated people, the world and the emotions are able to grab you and appear bigger than they actually are. I highly recommend it. I was really looking forward to the next movie I watched because it was the newest film by the Japanese filmmaker Korida Hirokazu. But in the end, Monster did leave me a little bit cold. It's certainly an interesting film that plays with perspective in a way that recalls the big classic Rashomon. It's a story about two young schoolboys and what really happened with them and their teacher. It has something important to say, and yet once its structure became clear, it became just a little bit tiresome for me to sit through it. Which sounds harsher than it should, but it just wasn't completely my kind of film. Unfortunately, I was also really not on the same wavelength as Michel Gondry and his newest comedy drama, The Book of Solutions. In this semi-autobiographical film, Pierre Ninet plays a narcissistic, eccentric young director who just isn't able to face and complete his latest work of art. There are a lot of wonderful little ideas in the film, as you expect from Gondry, but as a whole, this felt super meandering and aimless to me. And while intentional, I just couldn't stand this obnoxious protagonist at all, and was always hoping that his collaborators, who he mostly treats terribly, just leave him alone with his stupid project. Yeah, this one felt rather exhausting to me. My next film was the French comedy drama La Fille du Son Père, or No Love Lost. A sweet and playful little film about a father-daughter relationship, about life and time, about love and letting go, with some really fun moments and themes that maybe aren't completely explored that much, but touched enough on to give you something to relate to and think about. And it's also one of those films that have a near perfect last shot.